do you have any big time, maybe far-fetched goals for 2017 with the podcast channel, etc.? Well, if you listen to the full podcast, which is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Podbean directly, I brought this up at the beginning of the podcast, which, remember, people on YouTube, this is part of an audio podcast, much larger audio podcast that's cut up. But 2017, I want to sort of branch out into non-video game content more and do some more video game content, but I will start up a separate podcast that'll venture more into non-gaming elements, more talking about stuff going on in my life, maybe some social topics, more political stuff going on, something that doesn't fall under the purview of the CU podcast, which is more retro and modern games, and more talking about sometimes pro wrestling stuff on the CU podcast and movie stuff. I wanted to be able to talk about whatever I want to. I think I have more to offer, hopefully you agree, more to offer than just talking about video game stuff. You want to know more about me, my personal life, maybe some experiences I've had in the past, good and bad, hear me vent about stuff, maybe try to be funny about certain topics or experiences I've had, talk about girlfriend issues, romantic woes, things that have happened to me. Can't do that on the CU podcast. I don't think you guys want that here, but maybe some of you guys want to listen on a different podcast. And it'll be maybe once or twice a week, 45 minutes, where I'll just free ball it. I'll have a few topics, but I'll take more questions about people asking about maybe what I went through in high school or college, or maybe experiences with other YouTubers, whatever else, stuff that won't make it on the CU podcast. I think I want to do that. I'll be writing more this year. I'll be working on the Super Nintendo guidebook. I'll be writing more or working on more stuff with the app. Not necessarily that's for the channel, though. I do want to do a different video game show, maybe focus more on playing through games. So maybe not necessarily like a let's play, but I'll play through an entire game, maybe with some commentary. So if you want to see me maybe beat Contra, I'll record myself beating Contra, then comment maybe as I go on certain spots. You know what I mean? Like spots that are troublesome or things that to look out for or whatever. Thoughts about the game. Maybe I'll talk about my experience with my mom buying me Kung Fu by accident instead of buying me Contra. She got it confused. Whatever. I want to do something like that where I can get the content out. It's more video game content. You guys want to see that. So let me know if that's something you want to see. And then also in terms of having a different podcast and topics, I'll probably do what I'd never want to do and start a new channel to do that, just so that this one stays more about video games in general and the CU podcast, and I'll have a separate one for what's probably going to be the Patcast with Pat Contry. That's probably what it's going to probably be called, the new podcast when I get that going. And that'll be probably solo, and I'll probably have guests in that every now and then, and the CU podcast will stay with me and Ian if he comes back healthy. So I'll have those two different podcasts. And who knows, maybe I'll do a third one down the line. Because podcasts are at least easy to get out there. Not a lot of editing involved with the audio part with that. More so if you cut it up for YouTube, then there's something involved with that. In terms of other writing, I might have a writing project with someone else that might get started this year. There's no guarantee. But yeah, that's what's going on with my life and the channel. I'll still do Pat the NES Punk videos. I'm working on one right now. By the time you see this, it hopefully will be out. If not, it'll be out soon. And I still have ideas for that. For that down the line. I don't have a huge amount of ideas remaining, but there's some ideas for that. And then Ask Frank will remain as well. The Frank crates will happen less often, but they will still happen. So we'll see what else happens. I'm going to try to work smarter this year and more efficiently for sure. But I want to also sort of make sure that YouTube isn't controlling my life entirely. I am also a writer on the side. I am a podcaster. Maybe I want to try to get into comedy more. We'll see what 2017 brings. It's going to be a year of changes. I'm going to try to have more fun in my life as well. Maybe that'll be me going on Twitch more and just playing games and you guys watch me a bit. Maybe not as a job, but because I want to start enjoying life a little bit more. The last couple of years have been rough professionally and a little bit personally. It's gotten better personally, which I'll talk about more in the podcast with Pat Contry. But we'll see what happens with all that. And maybe I'll do, I'll get into game development later in the year or something once the NES app is sort of in a good final state there. Let me know in the comments what you want to see on this channel or from content from me in general. What do you want me to see me write or talk about on another podcast or anything else? Where do you want to see me go? Maybe you want me to go away entirely and I'll just do that. If you pay me enough, I'll go away.